All right. Hello, folks. Welcome to the Theory of Relatives podcast. I am Relative Reg, and I'm going to hand it over to Relative Derek to go ahead and introduce the topics for this week.
Hi, welcome to the Theory of Relatives. Funzy is out today. I just want to go ahead and introduce myself. I'm Derek logging in,
Nick checking in.
This is Relative Greg. Good evening, folks.
and then we have a special guest today. We have a friend of a relative. Nick,
Hey.
go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, here I guess my title will be non-relative, friend of relative. Nick, how's it going?
Hey.
Oh man, it's great to have you on today.
Thank you.
We have a good podcast today. We're gonna be talking about our favorite guy, Kevin Samuels, and then recently he just posted something: should men pay for everything? And then we're gonna go into a little bit about the Michael B. Jordan and copywriting the word Juve for one of his liquor brands, and we're gonna go into a hypothetical. So going into to Kevin Samuels, recently he just posted that if you're a man and you want to check a woman or sort of say you have to pay for everything. And in normal standards, we've gotten used to paying. The man should pay for everything, and you look disrespected if you don't pay when you're going on like the first date and when you're trying to go out. So I wanted to know from the group, is this still applicable? Do we still have to live by these? Do we agree with what he's saying? Let me know. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with Nikki because she looks like she has something on her mind.
I mean, what he said is a bold statement. In fairness, I did not see the entire clip, so I don't want to misinterpret what he says. But just going off of the caption that I've been reading online, it's like the man should pay for everything. But I think gender politics aside, because that's always everything's gonna be laced in the conversation. All of that's gonna be in the conversation, but I just look at it as a power dynamic. If you the man or woman, if they're the breadwinner and they pay for everything, depending on their nature and how they see the person that they're paying for, there's going to be a shift in the power dynamic. And a benevolent person is going to be like, look, I love you, I'm giving you the world, and I don't care because you're mine, and that's how we live together. And then there's another person who's going to be like, look, I pay for everything, you better walk the line that I tell you to walk. So his tone seems more like the latter. It's like, look, I'm the man, I run this house, you be on your P's and Q's, make sure your feet are done and don't talk back. You know what I'm saying? So if you're into that kind of thing, fine. But in reality, people fall more somewhere in between. Most people do. Even if the man is generally the breadwinner anyway, they still kind of compromise in other things. So, but as far as the first date, I believe in the get to know rule. If you're gonna be a gentleman and ask a woman for her time, that's fine. It's the gentlemanly thing to do, is to pay, but at the same time, don't go and take her to like a 5-star rooftop joint where it's like it's $600 minimum for appetizers or some foolishness like that. It's like go for coffee, pay for the coffee, and then build from there. And maybe like
Okay,
you, she'll take you out too.
okay, I agree because I saw another post. It said on our first date, he took his the lady out. She brought her friend, and then they had because to I guess yeah, that's what confused me.
Oh,
She
you
brought her
got
friend
got.
to the first
You
date.
got got.
Wait, the friend was a guy?
No, friend was another female,
Okay.
and then they both ordered food, and then he was expected to pay for both of them.
What?
I don't know if it was
Oh,
on a tip like, oh, I'm bringing my friend because I don't know you yet.
Grow up.
But
You need a chaperone to a
so I
date?
saw that.
Like, grow
He,
up, man.
Nah, that's the caliber of woman that he was running for. She's probably cute, and he was probably trying to go for it. And she pulled a fast one. They both was hungry. They didn't want to pay for Uber. They didn't want to do a DoorDash, so they got him, and he, they
Sucker,
ate the food and they dashed on him.
sucker move.
Mm,
Oh
So
man.
so he got tried, and unfortunately, in today's world, when we have that kind of thing expectation, it's messed up because now we have more and more women taking advantage of these funny expectations, and guys get taken on a ride. I'll be quite honest. Before I got married, I got tried like that, mad times.
mm.
At one point I was like, "Dang man, I'm feeding half of Pembroke Pines with all these women I keep dating on the first term.
Stop.
I'm keeping women from starving out here." And
Golden Corral.
you know, and they trying the hell out of me, trying to order the highest thing on the menu, and it's like, yo, you don't the practice is idealistic. It's wonderful and beautiful when it's done properly, sure, whatever, if you're rich enough to handle that.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to find a partner, and I don't think that it sets up that expectation when you're sitting there saying, "Hey, let's go out to go eat." Because I think a lot of, especially younger girls, they're thinking, "Oh, okay, so I'm going to order whatever I want. I don't care about whether I like him or not. I'm just going to go eat."
That's some.
And when you look at it like that, it's like, "Dang, yo, this guy's going to go out here, pay whatever it is for this meal, and waste his time because she's nowhere even thinking or even wondering about what this man is trying to say or what he's trying to bring to the table or where he's trying to go." And that's messed up. I know that as time got I moved on and I got older, I stopped doing that. And I'll be quite honest with you, one of the first dates I had with my wife, I'm not even ashamed to say it, the first place we went was IKEA.
Exactly.
Mm.
Small,
Ah,
simple things
That's
in the
different.
beginning.
Well, that
you
means you
know
Mm-hmm.
had something interesting to talk about with her. Like it wasn't about the place you took her to. It was about the place was just a backdrop for you two to have to spend time with each other. So and that's
Absolutely.
yeah,
And we
I
moved
mean,
from couch to couch, from chair to chair,
word.
and walked around the whole thing, ate and talked. And I didn't spend more than $18 for
those
the
meatballs are
entire
fire
experience.
though.
And I walked out with some utensils.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this
I will
was
So
say,
let
Part of
me
the process
hold
was
on.
getting
Go,
to know somebody.
go ahead, Nick.
how long did that take you to come to that realization? Because I figure like it does make you wonder like, do those guys who still fall for that trap of being taken advantage of, like at some point they need to realize like, hey, like open your eyes, you're being used, you're not, this girl's not into you, she's just using you for a free meal or a free ticket. How long did that take you to realize, and like what
Listen, for me, it took me maybe 6 months because I was
uh,
going on these first dates, and dang, this first date went well, or like another date will come. I'll have the same girl, but she'll call me, 2, 3 months later, like, "Yo, now you hot all of a sudden," and then it would just be for the date, and then they eating the hell and they eating quick, and they ordering and whatever, and then the date's over, and I don't hear from them again. I'm like, "Nah, man, this ain't working. I'm spending this money, but we ain't getting to know each other. They're not really hearing what I have to say or looking at the potential or value or my worth." And I had to sit there and say to myself, "Look, I'm worth something. I have something to bring to the table to go somewhere."
mhm,
And that's when I said, "All right, that's enough." Once I started saying that's enough, and I started saying, "Hey, look, I'm not gonna put you in that." I would, immediately, ask a woman to go out, and they'd hit me with the yes or no right from the jump.
good.
Because those
Okay.
kinds of women ain't trying to go to IKEA to go eat meatballs.
Well, are they the type to go to $600 appetizers Nikki's talking about?
Yeah, they trying to go up there, go get the lobster and the steak.
I'll be honest. I want to try these $600 appetizers right now. Where is this, Nikki? Tell me.
Find, put the sugar baby applications. Did they shut that site down? There was a website where
Nah,
these
it's
were like
still there.
college chicks. This is based in Miami, mind. This was years ago.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were like college chicks from
Mm-hmm.
Miami. They had a sugar babies website, and they basically rent, quote unquote, rent their time to these older rich dudes that wanted pretty young things on their arm, and they took care
That's a
of
good
them
business.
and gave them money. So if
Oh
that's
man.
if that's their
So
lane, then that's the lane. But yeah, for regular,
let me. I want to also bring it back to this as well. Or I want to ask this question. So I'm going to point this to Nick. Now that he mentions having the control in the relationship since you're the breadwinner. Like like Nikki was saying that you get to control what the person does. Oh, you can't go out or something, or we're not doing this. You have that power.
Hmm.
Now you are married. I say this because you and Reg are the only people that are married in this podcast. So when you guys have to approach that saying I'm taking the lead, or I'm do this, how does that feel? Because you're the breadwinner at this point. Or if you weren't the breadwinner, how would that go? If she was the breadwinner and you were trying to give her those like stipulations, how do you think it would go?
I guess. I mean, I guess I feel like if as the breadwinner, like, oh, this I'm not current situation because my wife and I would both work. Um, but if it were a situation where I was a breadwinner, I would definitely feel some. I would say it with my chest because I know I got stuff to back it up at that point. Because I'm the one bringing the food to the table. I'm the one providing for the house and everything. So with that, if I as the breadwinner, there would be I would go down deep into my home, my Caribbean like masculine toxicity roots, and go, this is my house, okay? Like, exactly. Who pays the bills? Who pays the water? Why is the power on at this time? Why is the fan on at this time of day? Why is the AC not at 70, 71, 73? Like, what's going
Hmm.
on here? So at that point, for that's under that situation, yes, I'll definitely be like, hey, I'm the one paying the bills. I see where the money's coming and going. So I definitely see that would be a situation.
Hmm.
Flip side, if let's say currently right now we're both breadwinners, it's an even exchange. We both bring to the table. We both dictate. We
Okay.
both talk about the budget ourselves. We both have
Okay.
savings allocated at some point. We both have our own budget, our own spending money. Like she does, she has her portion. She does what she wants. I have mine. I personally find that like the biggest turnover point for us was when we did like joint bank accounts.
Mm.
A lot of I have some friends. They do not. They hate the idea of it. They
I hate it.
they run from it. I at first I agree. I was a bit like skeptical of it, but after a while, I'm like, you know what? Ultimately, this is a us journey. That's how I figured it. At that point, it's you and me. There's no one else. This is it. I trust you. You trust me. You're not gonna run away with all this money. You're not gonna access the debit. Like you're not gonna. We already have the accounts. Like it's already there. So we may as well just put ourselves. Like it's a situation where I knew I trust her, and then she trusts me, and then we're in a situation where we are definitely in it for the long run.
Okay.
So that's where the equality level is. And then otherwise, if it was the other way around, well, I'd be doing the dishes and making sure not to waste too much water. That's the other. I know I kind of have an idea like, hey, that TV's been on way too long. All right, turn this off. Turn on my iPad, watch it on there. I know the power's too much, but I'll just be more conscious of my spending and much more aware of where how I can help in other ways to bring like finances or stability in the house, or bring my portion into the house. If I can't bring bread or money to the table, I'll bring something else. I'll bring the table. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
Also bring
that's how I see
foundation.
Yeah.
it.
So today, if she said she quits or anything, and then you are the breadwinner today, would you go into those deep Haitian roots?
Oh, I'm logging on Amazon. Amazon is locked. Like password is changed today, the day of. We're not buying no
Okay.
more. We good. We're returning everything.
So, Reg, I want to ask you the same question. If it today, your wife, you're the breadwinner, would you? I mean, I haven't heard your thoughts on it yet. Would you go down those Haitian vibes and lock everything down? Tell me how you feel. Same question I
Oh,
posed to
okay.
Nick.
Well, you know what? When I was the breadwinner, there was a good 3-year run, and I felt good about it. And I'll be honestly, about it. I had my foot down. You know, I had my foot down on the neck. I, if I saw a penny was off, I was like, "Hey, what's going on here? What's happening?" The thermostat, all of a sudden got changed from my phone. I changed it back. No, there was nothing wasted. I knew what was going. I was all seeing, forever knowing. I had reach beyond reach. But you know, when she got that new job and all of a sudden doubled what I was making, I had to just sit back and be quiet.
Mm.
And I had to humble myself. I had to take it, and and then I had to realize, dang, I was a pretty I was a messed up dictator for a minute. And
So they turn into
I remember it was a trip.
Really
I was sitting on the couch. She came in the room, and she's like, "Did you order something on my Amazon account?" I was like, "Huh?"
Oh.
Like,
And
what?
I was
What?
like, "Oh my god, this is happening to me, and it's the other way around." And I had to take it. I just had to take it. I just had to eat it.
Yeah.
But you know what? In experiencing that, it just goes to show you never know. You know what I'm saying? One minute you could be that guy that has it and you had that control. The next, it could be the other way around. But it has to be important that you have to, realize, hey, how you coming at your partner,
Right.
and what y'all trying to do this for. So I had to sit back and take that humble pie and apologize for past misgivings. And
Mm.
I shouldn't have messed with the AC like that, from work, and
You leave and you cut the
hang with
AC off. That's some asshole shit. Sweat
you
in your
know
sleep.
you know what it is. No, and you know what? I'll be honest with you. Half of it ain't my fault. We had that Nest thermostat, so the minute I walk out the house, you know, the AC shut off. That's it. That's it. You still in the house. There's a problem. Why you in the house still? You need to go out and go do something. That's how I was thinking back then. So when I see that the AC all of a sudden, thermostat saying 70, 75 degrees in the house, like whoa, 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 something's wrong.
No,
75 in
At
Florida.
11 in the afternoon, nah, man,
you tripping.
something's up. I'm at work. Who's using this AC like this?
Yo,
Unacceptable.
you remind me of my dad back in the day. Like I think it was like towards the end of the month. There's like it was like 2 3 days like back in the day. Like when you see the 30th is coming up, yo, the man would lose his mind. And I
Mm.
understand why, because he's the breadwinner. He's managing everything financially. So then all of a sudden he's like, why are y'all drinking so much water? Who moved the tissue? What is this? Who left napkins in the car? You only have a car. You only have one thing. You can't destroy the stuff that you have. And and I was just looking at him, and I'm like, oh, it's bill time, isn't it? Yeah, yeah, it is. Let me stay out of his way
Yo,
because he's mad
yo,
about anything.
when you realize how much toilet paper costs for real,
Oof.
Oh
Done.
no, don't
or
mess
yo,
around.
when you know what, a teacher told me this once, and it messed me up. Then it was like, look, you don't realize how life hurts until you have to buy garbage bags.
Mm.
Mm.
And the thing is, and I was like, what you talking about? Like, look, you buy the garbage bags, right? You buying these bags just to throw them in the garbage and go away. That's it.
Oof.
Yeah.
Now, if you go cheap, you're gonna end up with shit on your hands,
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
right? So you're gonna spend more, but every time you do, you realize that you just threw away that $8 or $10 or $12 for that pack of 50 or pack of 60, just so you don't end up with stuff on your hands. Because everybody know if you've ever tried to be cheap with garbage bags and you ever have it bust on you and now you have to pick up the garbage with your hands,
Worse.
the worst, right?
Interesting.
So you spend the extra money. But you know that money ain't. It's not like you're gonna see that money again or whatever. No, you're just throwing that bag away.
Hmm.
Mm. And now you're gonna go get
So
another bag.
now you got to go. Yeah, and you always feel it every time. Every time you buy toilet paper, tissue paper, all that stuff,
That's
you
a-
feel it every single time. That's why I trained the boys to use the bidet right after I got back from Japan.
What?
Yeah, he
Lord,
four. My my middle's 4 years old. Knows how to use it.
He was like, nope.
We the only ones that made it through the pandemic unscathed. No huge stockpile of toilet paper over here.
And clean.
Having to wake up like 6 in the morning to go to Walmart.
I was
Not
The
crazy
only one
times.
available. What was that brand? Charmin, the most expensive brand available. I
And
will say
Super
though,
soft.
after that, I'm like, man, how am I living here, man?
what
Like,
is it?
why am I here with these baby? What's the baby? What's that cheap like what $10 brand, maybe $8 up like pack of not low tier brand toilet paper.
The-
I forgot.
Other than the Walmart brand.
Other than that Charmin brand, I'm like,
Scott
wow,
is
Oh,
this
my
Scott.
brand.
is
I
Scott.
like Scott
You got
Scott
Scott.
is my
Yeah.
Scott has come through for me.
A
Charmin has let
dollar
me
a
down.
pack.
Listen, I think toilet paper is the biggest scam in the history of retail. It doesn't matter what brand it is, that shit breaks and you accidentally touch your own butthole. I hate it. Fucking hate it, man.
See,
Doesn't matter what brand.
if y'all switch over to the bidet,
Yo,
y'all never had
No
that problem
problem.
again.
word.
No problem.
No problem.
So,
So Nikki, I want to just going back to that the last question. So like, say your man has started to just switch up and started to do the eagle run, because he's making the money now, or you start making the bread now. How would you feel? What would you do?
me, I with money, it to me that's a very funny thing that breaks people up and that causes big rifts and beef. So in a romantic relationship or shoot, even with family and friends, you gotta be very careful about how you deal with money and resources between people because money is time. You spend your time away from your own life to go work and then put into a household. So you have to respect that person's um,
Mm-hmm.
effort and what they're bringing in. But at the same time, I don't believe you should use your money to sun people and talk down to another person that's living with you or dependent on you because over time, like example Reg, like over time they may surpass you, and then when you catch that same heat and you feel it, you don't like it. So I just go by the principle,
Mhm.
like, don't treat people the way I wouldn't want to be treated. But at the same time, if we're putting in together or trying to build something, or if you're taking care of me or vice versa, respect what that person brings. But at the same time, you have to be mindful of that person's effort, what they're bringing in. If my husband's taking care of everything in the house, I'm not gonna be a jerk and waste his money and live frivolously unless it's like he's like, hey babe, go crazy. That's different. But
Mhm.
if we're regular working people and money is time where he feels all 40 of those hours, you know
Mhm.
you have to be conscious of that.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else want to talk on it? Greg, you have anything?
Look, I ain't got nothing.
So
Nah,
It's all
I
good.
mean,
I guess
no, really. I mean, you guys. I think all you guys really hit all the different layers of it. I mean, honestly, even if bottom line, even if you're making the most money in the household, it doesn't give you jurisdiction to be a dick. And
Mhm.
and just make the bread. And I think there is a way to communicate how you want the money to be budgeted. If you're the breadwinner, there's a way to communicate that properly without coming off as a tyrant.
Right.
And if
Mhm.
the other person is just not receptive to it, at least you got the power to kick him out. So,
This is true.
and
At
that's
my
it.
house.
That's it.
All right. That was great. That was great. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on to our next topic. We're gonna be talking about Michael B. Jordan, and then his liquor brand. He was going for a liquor brand called Juve. And that particular word, has many Caribbean ties to it. So a lot of people felt like this was Caribbean culture appropriation. Um, and I just want to get how you guys feel, since we're all Caribbean here. That word, because I know in college, you heard Juve, you were thinking about the parties, you were thinking about the fetes and all this type of things, because that's what's normally associated with the word. And there's more to it, of course, but when at least college student, it was towards the parties and everything. So I want to hear what you guys have to say. What do you think? Do you think he was in the wrong, in the right, or do you not even care?
Me personally, I'm not offended by him calling it Juve. I think like any other, if the brand was meant to evoke island life, Caribbean, I don't see anything particularly wrong with it. I think it's just the business of it that if it's trademarked, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong because I don't know the rules or laws when it comes to that, but I think it's the fact that he trademarked it, so he has ownership of the word. Whereas it's one of those things that's like trying to trademark or get the rights to Happy Birthday. Like nobody really owns that. So
Mhm.
I think that's where the friction really is. But in reality, it's like if he had a company inspired by a city in Jamaica, for example, or Trinidad, it was like, are you really going to be an uproar about that? That doesn't make sense. But I think on the business PR side, there's a better way to finesse it. But me personally, I don't think he stepped on any toes or tried to cross the line intentionally. No.
Mhm.
My thing is like I feel if you're like there's plenty of these consulting companies, there are plenty of these I'm surprised no one was included. No one stepped up. Was like, hey, Michael B. Jordan, maybe this is not a good idea. The Juve is like, there's a whole history behind it. It's not just one party. There's a whole history, emancipation behind it, especially from the French and Trinidad. There's a whole bunch of history behind this fete. Like Carnival is not just started off because people went to party for 3 days. No, there's a whole history behind it. There's a religious or traditional aspect behind it. That alone for Carnival, let alone Juve, which is what started off in Trinidad. So
Trinidad.
I find that like there's surprisingly some ignorance behind it in the sense that no one stops and like, hey, Michael, this is you should probably change to something else. Like change it to I don't know, like a specific name of coconut, a coconut that grows in Trinidad. That would have been fine. No one would have been offended by that. It's a
Mhm.
coconut, but
Yeah.
I find that I guess yeah, along with the copywriting, that would ruffle some feathers there.
Yeah,
Okay, well,
Agreed. Agreed.
another way to look at it and think about it is, let's say, pick a celebrity. Just anybody out the blue.
Jay Z.
Jay Z. Okay, Jay Z decides, okay, um, we're gonna put out a new beer, and we're gonna call it, um,
Neglakai.
we're gonna call it IET,
Mm.
Whew,
right?
it's a lot of
Now,
pressure.
most people here in the US would probably not have a problem. Whatever, it's a beer, Jay Z, The Rock. Okay, cool. And they probably go out and buy it. But
Mhm.
I guarantee you, you know, maybe 5 minutes after that hit, you'd have Haitians in uproar
Mm.
because none of that money is going to hit the island. It's not
Mhm.
going to support anybody working. There's a lot of, respect that goes with calling something like that, by somebody that's not, or would be considered an outsider, going ahead and taking that name and running with that. It'd be problematic. And Michael B ran into that very same scenario with calling his drink that, and he just wasn't thinking. And unfortunately, in this time, in our life right now, where appropriation is so common, we don't even think about things as being appropriated, which is very unfortunate. And it's very similar to what's happening right now on TikTok with those dancers that have stopped the dances, and now you
Mhm.
have white people convulsing, looking very strange, You don't know what's going on with them.
Yo,
Trying to get these dance moves together, but they don't know what's happening.
convulsing.
Crying on
They trying. I seen a few, and I was like, oh my
They
gosh.
should stay
Just so
But
that people that does not know about this,
Yeah, they need pay.
just recently on TikTok, all the black creators have done a strike, basically not posting any content out. And then as the week has gone by, you see the length of TikTok where those black creators, you can feel the influences change because now, as Reg was saying, you have people just sitting there fake crying and then stopping. So you basically, yeah, the I'm gonna call it the Karen syndrome. The fake crying and hollering, and just being able to turn it off. But yeah, go ahead and continue.
yeah, well, unfortunately for them, it's shown the weakness that there really is there. Unfortunately, the creativity is not there, and they were just waiting on a black performer to come do the dance first, copy it, and then take credit because they have followers,
Yeah.
quote
Hmm.
unquote.
Mm.
So you know we have to be careful in this day and age about appropriation, and it's not something that's taught in school. you know and I know that because I teach in school. So it's just something that we just have to keep in mind as we continue to move forward. That's all, folks.
Yeah.
There was some backlash from that as well. On top of the Michael B. Jordan, Nicki Minaj
Hmm.
went like I did see like Nicki Minaj did criticize Michael for taking the name Juve and everything. But even there was backlash on top of backlash on top of backlash. People are saying like Nicki Minaj is like, where are you to stand for saying that he's appropriating Trinidadian Caribbean culture when her whole rap career was
Mm.
appropriating black culture when she's technically supposed to be Trinidadian.
Yeah.
So even there's a sense that like no one's satisfied. No one's like, well, who are you to say? Who are you to point the finger when your house is? I don't know. I can't I
The
can't think of
glass,
Yeah,
expressions
yeah,
made of
I will
glass
not
or
sit
yeah.
there and give that credit to anybody that would say that they're appropriating when you're talking about another black person. Like Paul Mooney used to say, you're just another black person. You just got off at a different stop.
Right.
You know, and quite honestly, that whole because I'm Trinidadian or because I'm Haitian or I'm from here or there, that makes me a different. I'm not I'm a different black. No, we all black. We're all the same. And once we learn to unify that idea of ourselves, we can do a lot more for each other. Now, unfortunately, and when you sit there and say, "Oh, but you're Trini," she is Trini, but she's also black,
He's also American.
and she grew up in New York, where all kinds of cultures grew together and created hip hop and worked to create a sound and music, which she heard since she was a child when she got there. And just like everybody had a shot to go ahead and create and produce, she did the work. And lyrically, you can't say that she's not a rapper,
well,
and you can't say that she doesn't give back to Trinidad. So
true.
I mean, we're quick to point the fingers at people and throw stones, but I think we need to pull back and just again listen to one another, and especially amongst us, we need to chill the fighting. The infighting needs to stop because we're not the real enemy,
Mhm.
Agreed.
and that's a conversation that we need to get into at some point. Maybe not here, probably dinner talk,
Mm,
but amongst us, we don't need to be fighting each other. Not over this.
agreed. I
Mhm.
think the arguments got petty, and like
Hmm.
I said, I don't think
Mhm.
Michael had any malicious intent. I think he just borrowed. He's like, oh, this is a popular word of the culture. He just wanted to evoke a rum, and I think honestly, that's where the most of it is. I think if anything, you should probably just clean up
Mhm.
the legalities. Shoot, even change the spelling. you know, flip
Yeah,
it, and then there you go, and it
do
probably
something.
solved. But I don't think it deserves on any uproar on either side. And like the ADOS, which is typically the American descendants of slavery, they don't want to separate themselves. And sometimes my beef with them is like, y'all slavery wasn't different from everybody else's slavery. You know this guy.
Mhm, mhm.
So, but it's the fracturing. Like I understand there are things that are specific to African Americans that's theirs and that's truly theirs. I agree. Just like all other subgroups have their own
Hmm.
unique traits, but some of the infighting is stupid. But
Agreed.
the internet breeds that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and really,
Hmm.
yeah. So I think his biggest mistake was trademarking it, not the name itself. I think it was the trademarking, which was, yeah, that was a fumble
Yeah.
on his part. But this whole, I mean, Nicki Minaj, honestly, she should have just shut up. But for people to go at her and say, "Oh, well, you're appropriating black culture," when the dude that supposedly invented hip hop is a Jamaican, okay, but Cool Herc,
Cool Herc, yeah, yeah.
he's a Jamaican, and and then there's a whole bunch of legendary rappers that are not, their heritage aren't, American.
Yeah, they're not
not
continental
they're not
American.
Yeah.
continental
Heavy D,
American. Heavy D,
Pete Rock,
D, Biggie.
Biggie,
LL.
shit, KRS,
Oh shit. Isn't
Slick
Farrakhan
Rick.
I mean, I know he's not a rapper, but isn't Farrakhan part Trinidadian if I'm
Yeah,
not
he's
mistaken?
Caribbean.
Yeah, he's Trini.
Yeah,
He's
man.
Oh
Trini.
wow, I didn't know
Like,
that.
these niggas,
Yeah.
man. So when it comes, I am very, very much behind the discussion of reparations for Black Americans. But the whole ADOS is like it was invaded by a whole bunch of people that's trying to sabotage their movement by trying to, by it's like they almost sound like white people. The way they talk about foreign blacks. Like,
Hmm.
yo, you're not one of us. You know what I mean? And it's like, nigga, your chains weren't made of platinum.
Mm.
You
We
know
have
what
the
I mean?
same chains.
Had the same dirty
I,
ass chains, man.
I see. I do see that people do criticize themselves depending on where they came from in the Caribbeans a lot. Like you would have Puerto Ricans or just or Jamaicans or Trinity, or they would, just like as you guys were saying, they look on each other as like, oh, I'm better than you, because of something. Um, and it's always been weird to me because of that. Because I've always, I'm not gonna say everything is, oh, I don't, not to say it. The I don't see the differences. Like, yes, there's a cultural difference, but I don't see that difference. Like, we look the same. We're going through the same struggle here. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So why do you, stick your nose up at me? Because because I mean, when I was growing up, you would have Jamaicans, come to me and look at me weird. You know what I mean? And I'm like, Why? I didn't do nothing to you.
It's
Do you
tribalism.
guys know why that was?
It's tribalism.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, you know what? And unfortunately, growing up in Miramar in the '90s, I did see some of that stuff, and even with Haitians and African Americans, you saw that issue, happen.
Mhm.
It did happen, and it occurred quite often. It even happened with our parents when they were growing up in New York,
Hmm.
mhm,
and they had dealings and fights with African Americans, and even just for jobs or even schools where they were told that the Haitians are better group than the African Americans, and the African Americans would get upset and fight back. You think back to you know South Florida with the earliest gangs that happened with the Haitians. When you had the Zopan and its group starting to build up, it was not necessarily it wasn't for fighting white people or Cubans. It was fighting African Americans because they were tired of getting picked on and they wanted territory. And a lot of
mm,
people wanted to go ahead and jump on board with that and felt unified with that. And you saw that not only in Miami, but in other parts and sectors of Zopan and Fort Lauderdale when I was at school. So this interfighting stuff, it has to stop.
mhm.
It's
Did Michael B. Jordan mess up? Yes, he messed up, and I believe he's trying to rectify it. Honestly, I felt that
Yes.
he should have done it, on something with video games because he's like a big gamer. He likes all that stuff, and he should have went that route and kind of named it that way, and he would have got his following and fans that follow him on that to go that route. To go ahead and call it something like that, you know, out of with the Trini lineage like that, I don't know. But that was a bad move.
Man,
But he's gonna rectify it, and he's an overall good guy. So I expect change.
man, I feel like they're gonna
Yeah, the name's
forget.
already changed.
I
Go
feel
ahead, Greg.
like I feel like they're gonna forget once he decides to sponsor a float. And, you know what I mean? They go. That rum is probably delicious, so they gonna
Something Madame Boo or
forget.
something.
Man,
As long as they can get something from it, yeah.
whatever,
I know
man.
we had swayed off that topic, but I did want to bring up the I guess the infighting or differences between like African American and like Caribbean culture. Like growing
Mhm.
up in Haiti, like I moved to Miami when I was 17, going 18. So I my vision of like African American culture was everything I saw on BET at the time. All the 50 Cent G Unit videos, all the sagging pants, all the cursing, all the baby boy movie back to back to back to back. It was
Mhm.
that was what I saw, and
That's all you knew.
that's all I
Mhm.
knew. So automatically, I had this somewhat derogatory view of African American culture.
Mm.
But it wasn't until coming here, I'm like kind of slowly. That was well, coming to Miami in general was a complete culture shock. But I slowly started to understand and see and understand the culture and understanding what things like just things like now African Americans are very reluctant to take the vaccine, any vaccines, like the even right now the COVID vaccine. I can now that I understand what happened with Tuskegee and the Black Wall Street, like everything of that happened, all that history. I understand the reluctancy for vaccines. But me growing up, I had people come to my school to give kids like polio vaccine. Like they just put them drops in their
Mm.
mouth. So in my mind, I'm like, why would you not want a vaccine? Because there's still people still had polio around me. I'm like, yo, like this is you don't want to walk around like half like crutch like walking
Cripple.
in crutches because of polio and stuff like that. No. So why would you
Mhm.
avoid the vaccine? But now I understand it. So it takes a lot more. It takes people to like interact with each other and get away from that divide that we've put on onto ourselves, or like that we've been put on to. Well, parentheses on that, like look at Africa. Africa was perfectly fine before colonization. Like everyone knew where they stood. The Hutu and Tutsi knew where they stood, so no interaction there. But when colonization happened, these lands were formed. Boom, infighting. So close parentheses on
Infighting.
that.
Mhm.
Um, I think the solution would be for there to be a certain like understanding between each other. Like the Zopound, that's become a little bit less relevant now. It's become just pop culture. It's become less
Mhm.
about gang and more about just like pop culture. You sing it with your song. What was his name? I forgot his name. He slept in his Bugatti. He woke up in a Bugatti. Um, you
Oh.
know the song, right? Yeah,
I
exactly.
know the song,
Ace
but I
Hood.
can't
Ace
remember.
Hood. Ace Hood.
Ace
There you go.
Hood.
Ace Hood.
Is he
Yeah,
Haitian?
I think he is.
I thought he was
He looks
American.
Yeah,
I
Haitian.
don't think he's
I mean,
Haitian.
listen.
no, he's Haitian.
They still say Usher's
He's
Haitian,
Haitian.
and I'm still behind it.
No, he's definitely Haitian.
Oh,
He's
His wife
definitely
is
Haitian.
Haitian.
There you
He's
go.
Haitian. No, not Usher. Usher, nah, 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 nah. He said no.
He said
But
no.
Yeah,
definitely
he
Ace Hood.
confirmed
Ace
it.
Hood is Haitian. And his wife is too.
Ace Hood is Haitian?
But
I did
I
not know that.
yeah.
I did
Mm-hmm.
So,
not know that.
but even then, I mean, also even with that, like trying to get back into like understanding each other, I still personally find a conflict when I go to like let's say I fill out a document and then you have to put race.
Mhm.
I get so conflicted because I don't recognize myself as black, like African American culture. I don't see African American. If there was only a Caribbean section, that's where I fit the best. Because
Right.
if you look at me, like no one thinks I'm Haitian, like, and yet I am 100% Haitian. Like I have, like my roots are literally African African roots, but I am light skin as hell. So everybody thinks I'm either Dominican or Puerto Rican. So you can
Mm.
imagine my life when I was living in Miami. Everyone just spoke Spanish to me. But even in there, even there, like I felt like I still wanted my identity to be there present, not to
Mm.
reject African American, but also like, hey, I am not in the same box as Africa because I don't recognize that culture. I don't understand that culture. I'm not in that culture. So I guess that would be a starting point, not to create divide, but to create um, companionship or working side to side with each other in that sense. So at the end of the day, like you can meld everything, everybody can get along, but at the same time, you kind of still want to like you want your representation to be there as well. So that's how I
Your
find.
individualism. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
it's a very tough thing to even start with. Honestly, I think we can make a whole podcast episode just that topic on there.
Yeah, honestly, we could.
Oh yeah. Next up, growing light skin in Haiti. Whew, man, stories.
Ooh,
Whew.
ooh, that'll be a conversation right there. I think, but you would be the only one. I think we've had only. I think we've only. Yeah,
Shots fired.
I mean, been to Haiti. You see, you guys didn't let me finish, okay? So yeah, I think you're the only one that's been to Haiti so far. I don't know if anybody else on the cast has actually stepped foot.
We have.
Oh, you have. Okay, okay,
There you go.
okay. I know. During the times when I was supposed to go, we had the tragic earthquake, so we had to stop
Yeah.
from going, and I just haven't. What appears to me is just it hasn't recovered because every time I talk to my parents about going back, they're like, eh. So it's always been like that going forward. I've had some cousins go out there to a resort section and they look like they had a great time. So I definitely want to put it on my bucket list. Definitely.
For sure.
All right, let's go into our hypothetical question. And then Greg, get ready. You're gonna start first. So if you could travel, would you go forward or back in time? Um, let me know. What do you think? Would you go back or would you go into the future?
So I
Greg?
had to think. I had to think about this one. I think I may go back in time. I'll go
Okay.
back in time.
Why?
Why? Well, there's things I just there's just answers. This is things about this world I need answered. So I'll go back in time to like when there was when there was obviously a society that had like knowledge about this world and this universe that we don't have now. I want to see that. You know
Mm.
how they move these megalithic structures around. Did they really have that type of technology, or was it aliens? Was it giants? I want to know. And like they've known something. It's obvious. People like 20, 30,000 years ago, man, they had some type of knowledge about our existence, our biology, our about science, math, man. It was really up there with it. So I want to be around those people.
So would you be crushed if you went back in time
Mhm.
and you found out that these pyramids and everything that you were looking for was just manual hard work, them just working people, and it's like that's it? How would you feel?
Well, yeah, I'd feel like an asshole.
Like
I feel.
no, but I like I like that.
Well, I mean, it's stuff that.
Go ahead, Nikki. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead, Greg. Go
Nah,
finish what you're
I was
saying.
just saying it's stuff that can't be recreated now. So it was something different. They were doing something different.
Mm,
I hope it wasn't just them just
great.
pulling the whole big ass block up a hill.
I hope not.
Right, yo, the human sacrifice, I will skip the hell out of that. Okay,
That's what allowed them
all right.
the big blocks to go up the hill.
Oh,
Mm.
word.
Human blood.
It was sliding it on blood. Nah, man, I'm good.
You found out that the middle of the pyramid was a sacrifice place, and
Sacrifice
you're just sitting like, oh, this is how it works. Oh no.
souls of people made this building. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man.
Fire fed somebody, Lord. It's not true. I don't know what I'm saying. I will.
All right, Nikki, you're next.
I
Yeah,
will go
go
in the
ahead.
past. I will go in the past, but I don't know. I have to ask. Can we? Are we just seeing it, or can we manipulate it?
All right, let's go with manipulate it. Let's have fun with it. Go ahead.
Yeah, but then I would definitely go in the past. I would change a couple of things, a couple of big life decisions that I made, and see what that would bring. If it would bring me back to the same state now, or would it completely change trajectory? So I would go in the past.
So you will go in the past to change stuff in your past and make different decisions. Try to warn yourself for various things and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
So you want to create another time stream
Yes,
and mess things up. Gotcha.
multiverse. We're here for it.
Back
Alternate
to the
versions
Future
of
2.
everybody.
Okay, okay. You're gonna have the evil version of Nikki come out, and then we're gonna have to fight her out the
Gonna have
portal.
to push
Yeah,
her
no.
down the wormhole and all of that. And then she tries to rape
Oh
me
man.
in the current time. No, I have to fight that chick.
Oh man. Go ahead, Nick. What do you got?
Oof. I'm torn. I have two options here. First option, I would definitely go to future. Like, honestly, I literally just pumped gas using my phone today. Like, I paid for it on my phone. I just stepped out, pulled out the pump, tapped the amount I needed, and bam, no touching, no extra touching involved. I would
Mm-hmm.
like to see how further that goes. Like, can I just look in? Do I pull up and it just knows like, oh, Nick, oh, you got 13 gallons you need? Come on, let's go. Already debited on my account. I want to see that kind of future. I want to see that level. I'm happy I was born in this century, knowing, having grown up with the Nokia phones and then so on, and gradually getting the Motorola, and then finally have an iPhone where I can do everything I can. I would love to see how much further this can go. Now, the past and interacting with it, I have an idea.
Mm.
Okay.
Go back to the
Let's
past
hear it.
and just eliminate the the African colonization.
Hmm.
Like eliminate slavery altogether. Like eliminate African slavery, just to see how that would interact. What world would we live in? Like, would we work? Would we live in a world where we're just like we become we are we seen as somewhat equals, not a little lesser than where we were during slavery? Is it seen as like indifference? Like, what happens then? Like, does Africa become this Wakanda nation without
Mm.
the European or like European interaction? Like, what happens then? Like, I would love to see what happens for that. Like, does Haiti become Haiti? Does Haiti stay
There'd
in
be no
completely
Haiti.
indigenous?
There'll be
Yeah,
no
it
Haiti.
would just be indigenous Americans at that point. The If I can remember, was it the
Taino.
You know, Arawak.
Yeah, Taino, Arawak, the Taino. Haiti would just be, was it Boyo, I think, or Kiskeya at that point?
He's
We
scared.
don't
Yeah.
know. I would love to know. Like, it was like, what would happen? What kind of where would we be at? Where would we be? Would Thanksgiving be seasoned? Who knows? Who would there be seasoning in foods? Who
You're a
knows?
mess.
We have two countries that season foods. That's it. Oh god. Oh. All right. I like that. I like that. And Reg.
Okay. All right. So if I had to choose, I wouldn't go to the past because I know that going to the past it wasn't better for Black people, and so
Yeah.
it wouldn't make sense for me to go back. And if I was to go forward, I'd go about 150 years up because I
Why that
know,
particular number?
despite why,
Yeah.
um, because I wouldn't be able to see that in my lifetime.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Just
Well,
100.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's one thing to say, 50 years. 50 years, yeah, I might be able to get that.
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
150 years, I'm not going to be able to see that in my lifetime.
oh,
Sure.
150. Okay.
True.
Yeah, 150 years. If I go up 150 years, I know it's going to be much better for Black people by then. May not be much, like maybe we'll have more voting rights, you
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
Hmm,
Hmm.
maybe,
Hmm.
but it'll
maybe.
be 150 years of progress, whatever that means.
What else would you be
So,
looking forward for?
yeah, I'm looking forward to just being a Black man 150 years from now. Because imagine 150 years in the past, right? What a Black man was dealing with, And imagine if that Black man had, the ability to come see what we're dealing with. He'd be like, damn, y'all guys got it good.
Mm.
Yeah.
You can walk
Yeah.
around the street. They ain't trying to kill you all the time.
Only
All the time.
sometimes. Just
Occasionally.
Yeah, you never know. You never know who's gonna get it this time, but
Yeah,
it's much.
that's we quote unquote elevated to occasionally instead of
the
guaranteed.
dark humor,
That's
man.
that's 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 progress.
That's progress.
I would hope
So
I'm not dealing with this crap anymore, but time is fast and yet it runs slow. So
Yeah, but you know what? As they say with the especially here in the United States, within the next 30 or so years, the majority of people here are going to be brown.
Hmm.
That's what it's looking like, right? So give it 150 years. That's going to be a whole bunch of brown people running around. We still going to be tripping? I would like to know. What we doing in 150 years? Are we acting a fool? What happened to the white folk, the angry white people, the white people that couldn't control themselves? Did they get thrown in jail?
Mm.
What happened to them? Are there still school shootings?
Mm.
Did we? What are we doing? 150 years from now,
What's
can
different?
I go to the store and not have to worry about somebody following me around the house, or are there no stores anymore and it's just off my phone? Or
Right?
forget the phone. We ain't got no phone. It's all implanted in your brain.
You just think it.
Now you just
I
described
want
the
to know.
Matrix, Reg. I don't know about this.
Yeah,
You know. And then I would take advantage of the money that I already put in my interest bearing savings account.
Hey.
After that 150 years, let's see how I'm
Shout
doing.
out to Futurama.
word.
Word. Exactly. This is exactly.
Finally take my trip to Vegas and see what's up. Is Vegas still around?
Mm.
And by that time, what's
What
legal
is it
in
like?
Oh
Vegas?
God.
Ooh.
Since we know the alien thing's about to come out, are you going? Is it going to happen? Are we
Where
going to be
those
able to do
alien
the do
drugs
with
at?
the aliens in Vegas?
There's gonna be
What's
some new
going
laws,
on?
man. Like you can't poke an alien in Blorpole or some shit like that.
Hey,
No alien
Oh,
assassination.
Right?
Alien consent.
I was thinking about this when this report drops. What is everybody going to do? Because what if the aliens decide, all right, and they just pull a zipper out from the back of their neck and like, it's about time
About
I'm
time.
able to take this off. And
like
now
my
they
wig.
just expose themselves and like, oh,
I'm like,
now what are you going to do?
It's about time.
as long as they don't look like those
Yeah.
District 9 looking ass aliens and big shrimp
Oh,
looking
oof.
shit.
Mm-mm.
I'm like, oh God.
Like I said, who's been doing it already with the aliens? Who figured it out? Because
It's got to be
once it
one.
shows up, somebody's gonna try to figure out how to do it.
Because the deviants,
It don't matter.
because
One
deviants
of
don't
these
sleep.
deviants. What are these deviants?
One of these deviants,
Deviants don't take a night off.
they
They
don't.
don't sleep on this.
They plotting all the time. What kind of mess are we
Research.
getting
Oh,
right
man.
into now?
Research.
They've been plotting for years. We know they've been plotting. We have the hentai videos to show it. We know what's been going on.
They've been programming people from the beginning. That's them doing their little, programming in the beginning, so it's okay by the time they reveal themselves. Oh, this is normal. Okay, all right.
The
Whatever
deviants are ready to go.
coach yourself into this nastiness.
They've been coaching themselves and prepping themselves for years for this.
Oh my god.
Squid, half
Oh,
woman girlfriend.
With the extra long tentacles.
so for me, I'm definitely going with the future. I don't really think there's much in the past for me. Other than my love for seeing if a dragon is real or the samurai era. Um, those were two things that in history that always fascinated me. If they existed or something, that would probably be the only thing I go in the past to see those mythical beasts that people say that were around, running around, like seeing what dinosaurs really look like, and that would probably be if I had to go into the past. I would want to see.
Wait a
I want to
minute.
see what the
Hold on.
continents.
Hold
Well,
on.
no, no, no. I'm not living there. Let me remind you. I'm
Hold
just
on.
looking.
Let me ask you
Go
something.
ahead. Okay.
So you would be comfortable with seeing, what a dinosaur looks like in person.
Mind you, I'm going. Hopefully, that when I'm going in the past, I'm not having to survive. Hopefully, it's just like a window view, Because if I have
Okay.
to run
All right.
away, as soon as I get there, and then the T-Rex is trying to run after me, then yeah, I'm done pretty much. Because I'm not outrunning that. I don't know where to go. I don't have no weapons. You know what I mean? It's pretty much done deal. I got here. Hey guys, I'm in the back. Oh, done. It's gonna be like a
Okay.
little
All
bird
right.
just comes by, and then it's gonna take me. I'm gone. So hopefully it's through a window that I can view
Through a
this.
window. Okay. Okay. Because Because I
And-
thought about that and I've had dreams about that, so it concerns me. When y'all never had a dream of some crazy animal chasing you? I'm the only
I
one.
have.
you know
Like
what?
I had
Lugaú.
a, I
See?
had a nightmare like that.
Okay.
What would you say? You
So
said Lugawu?
Lugaú. Yep.
Oh
okay,
man.
so
Oh.
now you think about whatever kind of dinosaur. Imagine it being 25, 35 feet tall, and now it's running after you. Now,
Green.
you got to think about this now. Now, if you've ever seen a lizard, you see how fast a lizard could take off on you, right? And I know I'm in South Florida. I got like iguanas all over the place.
And they
I've
fast.
had iguanas, they drop down on my roof from time to time off the trees, and you hear a big thump, and then you hear it after it wakes up and it scatters away. It runs like hell. It takes off super quick. Now they big, they could be 5, 6 feet long, and they take
Mhm,
off
mhm.
quick, swift. So you imagine a Tyrannosaurus Rex deciding you is lunch, and that thing is coming at you. You don't even know what to expect from that, or how fast
Mm-mm.
is fast. How fast is fast?
You
Man,
ain't lying.
Especially when they're that big, their one step is a lot more than your one
is a
step. So
building's
Yeah.
length.
And remember, they're starting to figure out. They figured out that dinosaurs used to have feathers, so they
it's
were
right up
big
my-
ass birds.
They're
They're
best
flying.
chickens.
Yo, so they can
Oh.
pluck you right from the ground like it's nothing.
If you ever try to, you ever watch Rocky and you see Rocky trying to chase a chicken,
Oh, man.
and you're like, dang, he can't catch that chicken. Imagine if you not a chicken and Rocky trying to chase you. Now you trying to outrun something huge
Ostrich is
and
close
fast.
enough. Ostrich,
Done.
ostriches are menacing. They're like
Ostriches are
tall and aggressive.
That's
And it's a
true.
bird, and they're dinosaurs and lizards.
Yeah, they're
Birds
the
are all
closest to
cousins.
dinosaurs.
Your birds are. Because I mean, just look at an alligator. They pretty fast. Some of these big ones you see, they will run and chase and follow whatever food they're going for. So
If
they're
it
pretty
could slap
fast.
you with a tail, it could break a bone.
Mm-hmm.
Done.
Yo,
Done.
alligators could hit they can run up to 30 miles an hour.
That is
Bro,
ridiculous.
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, alligators
That's
they can
ridiculous.
climb fences. Yo, man, they're versatile, man.
Yo,
I remember. Oh, go ahead.
I don't remember when it was that I think it was one of y'all that showed me that video. I didn't believe that was even possible, and y'all showed me that video on I-75 of an alligator jumping the fence like a man, and I
Bro.
said, "Hell nah, hell nah." I didn't
This is why
realize
they build those
alligators
fences.
could. No, I didn't. That's what you think. It just slows them down a little bit, but they can climb the fence
Well, you remember
and make it.
Alligator Alley. Because
Yeah,
I remember a couple times they would come out of the cages, or not the cages, the fencing, and they would be in the middle of the street. So either they were
yeah.
climbing or breaking the fence.
I didn't realize that was the deal.
Yeah, I
I
didn't
didn't
know.
I didn't realize that they could climb the fence. And then there was that one time in Tampa where there was one that was ringing the doorbell,
Oh
What?
yeah, I remember.
trying
I
to get
saw
into the
that.
house because it saw that the dog
I,
was going in and out of the house.
I think I saw.
So it was
Oh,
eyeing the dog, but it figured out how to ring the doorbell. And it was literally up on its hind legs with its
ringing the
claw of a
doorbell.
hand ringing the bell, trying to get inside.
That is terrifying.
Absolutely terrifying.
So imagine
Oh,
now, alligator is nowhere near a T Rex in size. And I'm pretty sure T Rex's brain is even better than that.
mm.
So now you got something super smart, big, and fast trying to bite you in the past,
In the past.
where there's no help you can call for.
Back on.
The only thing you got is a stick or a bigger stick.
Oh God.
Would it even want to?
You have to literally. No, That's why you had to be a window. You couldn't live there. It had to be a window. You just had to see it for a glimpse,
It's gonna
just
be
to
a big
know
ass
it was
window.
real.
Big ass window.
Oh man. But yeah, I thank you everybody for listening to episode 10 of the podcast. It was definitely nice having the conversations today. We have our special guest. Thank you, Nick, for joining, the friend of the relative. Thank you for joining, Nick.
My pleasure.
And then this is Derek logging off.
Nick signing off.
It's Greg. Good night, folks.
Relative Reg, be easy.
All right, guys. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments. And we'll talk to you next week. Peace.